Welcome to Bloomington Today. I'm Kaylin Cockerill. Thanks for joining us. Now it's time for another In the Loop segment where we bring you news and events happening in and around the city's South Loop District. This week we've got a lot of updates coming out of the city's South Loop District, starting with a major freeway reconstruction. Starting this summer, a major improvement project on Interstate 494 is set to kick off. The area slated for improvement runs from just west of France Avenue to just east of the Mall of America.
The 494 improvement project includes resurfacing the driving lanes of Interstate 494 between 34th Avenue and Highway 100. It also includes reconstructing the median and adding a westbound auxiliary lane between Nicollet Avenue and Portland Avenue and 35W and Highway 100.
Graham says the auxiliary lanes are one of the first improvements to be made.
An auxiliary lane is a little bit different than a general purpose lane. It's not a driving lane that goes all the way through the corridor, but it's a lane that allows for extra time for entering or exiting, especially between entrances and exits. So there's less weaving in and out along the main corridor as people try to quickly exit or enter.
In addition, the Xerxes Avenue Bridge spanning I-494 will also be reconstructed. Grant says this creates future opportunities to match local development goals.
The bridge, as I mentioned, it'll be updated, so the vertical clearance will be higher and it'll also actually be widened. So that widening will allow for possible future opportunities in case we do look at expanding 494 in the future. We don't currently have a project in place for that type of work, but it would allow it to be an option in the future.
This $30 million project is expected to wrap up in the spring of 2013. So far, there are just 5 anticipated weekend closures expected, a minor inconvenience that will ultimately be well worth it.
This project, just by resurfacing, will create a smoother drive for motorists, take out some of those bumps and potholes that are along the corridor right now. The westbound auxiliary lanes that are being added, particularly the one between 35W and Highway 100, those will allow for a longer merge opportunity for motorists, so there's less weaving in and out as people try to enter and exit, less issues with possible crashes that can occur because of that. And then with the Xerxes Avenue Bridge, of course, just by heightening that vertical clearance, there'll be less of a likelihood for large, tall trucks to hit the bottom of that bridge.
The city will be sure to keep residents in the know regarding updates and scheduled closures. To make sure you stay in the loop, become a fan or follower of the city's Facebook and Twitter pages. You can also check the project website, available by logging onto the city's website and keyword searching I-494 improvement. There you'll find a direct link to MnDOT's project page. And staying in the South Loop District, let's head over to the Mall of America. March 18th marked the last official day of business for former Mall of America department store Bloomingdale's. And the plan for the space once occupied by Bloomingdale's does not include another department store, but instead several new businesses, many of which are new to the retail market. The mall is wasting no time in transforming the area, and as you can see, construction is already well underway. No details have been released just yet about what stores will be moving into the space, and as construction continues inside the mall's doors, it's wrapping up on a project outside. The ramp lighting project is coming to an end the first week of April. This environmentally friendly project replaced 5,400 sodium fixture lights with energy-saving LED lights. The project began in early September and will result in significant energy savings at the Mall of America, cutting energy costs by nearly 2/3. A representative from the Mall of America says the LED fixtures will reduce light pollution and improve lighting performance in cold weather. And moving over to the south side of the Mall of America, it's hard not to notice the tremendous progress taking place on the Radisson Blu Hotel. It's hard to believe this project started just 10 months ago, in June of 2011. Since then, 24,000 cubic yards of concrete has been placed. 1,625 tons of reinforcing steel installed, and 500,000 pounds of post-tension cables tightened. After speaking with a Mortenson construction representative, it was confirmed that the Radisson Blu is at full height. Crews will no longer be building up, and now the real fun begins. Starting in late March, windows will continue being installed and exterior colored panels will be placed on the outside of the building. The next step for crews is an exciting one. The large Mall of America sign on the mall's south side will be coming down, and crews will start the Skyway that will physically connect the hotel to the mall. The construction representative also noted that now the outside of the Radisson Blu will really start coming to life. As always, we'll keep you updated right here on Bloomington Today on major project milestones as we approach the late 2012 completion date. Have you ever had a question for the City of Bloomington, but it was after business hours, a holiday, or over the weekend? Well, odds are, if you're wondering something the city could answer, someone else has probably asked that very question. That's where Ask the City comes in handy.
Why is my tap water cloudy?
Where can I get information on the citywide garage sales?
How do I know when my pickup date is for curbside cleanup?
Where can I get my flu shot?
How can I reserve a city park pavilion?
Bloomington City offices are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. But that doesn't mean random questions and concerns from area residents fall within those hours. That's why Bloomington City staff created an online tool called Ask the City, inviting residents to do just that. Here's how Ask the City works. Log on to the City of Bloomington's homepage and click the Ask the City for Answers link on the left side of the page. City officials urge residents with questions to first look at the list of frequently asked questions by clicking Search FAQs. Here, there are 73 pages of questions commonly asked of city representatives. You can narrow your search by choosing a city division that pertains to your question, like police, and then all police-related questions are compiled. If you don't find your question there, click the link Ask Question to submit your inquiry. It asks that you sign in by creating an account. This allows city staff to notify you when your question has been answered. And from there, you simply submit your question. Someone from a related department will be forwarded the inquiry and have an answer for you as soon as possible. In addition to questions, you can submit a service request here. So, for example, if you have a street light out in front of your house, simply submit that request. And it's now time for a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Assistant Maintenance Superintendent Paul Edwardson to find out how to keep your ash trees healthy. Stay right here.
Hey, Ray. How's it going?
Great, so you pulled me over.
You forgot to use your turn signal back there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'll give you a warning. Just watch it next time.
Yeah, I will. Hey, you still going to the game on Friday?
You betcha.
What are you writing?
A ticket. For what? For not wearing your safety belt.
You're kidding me.
Afraid not. See you Friday.
We're stepping up safety belt enforcement. If you don't buckle up, you will get a ticket. No exceptions. Click it or ticket.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now pleased to be joined by Paul Edwardson. Paul is the Assistant Maintenance Superintendent for the city. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for being back on the show.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, well, most people are welcoming spring with, open arms. I'm one of those people, but with the warming temps comes the insects, and some of which are, obviously very dangerous to our city's trees. So we're talking obviously about emerald ash borer mainly. Why don't you start by discussing what that is?
Well, emerald ash borer has been in the eastern United States for probably 15, 20, maybe more than 20 years. It supposedly came from Asia, kind of came in through Detroit on ships, on cartons and wooden pallets and those kinds of things. And it's kind of marched its way both east and west. And about 3 or 4 years ago, it was detected in Minnesota. So it's the newest pest that we're trying to deal with related to trees in Minnesota.
Okay. And, as you had said, EAB found its way EAB, emerald ash borer, that's how we can refer to it. It found its way to Minnesota in 2009. How do the experts suspect that that happened? You know, it came over originally from Asia. They're thinking, how did it move across the country?
They're thinking that one of the primary ways that it's moved, especially the last few years, is people hauling and moving infected wood/firewood from point A to point B. The bug itself can't move very fast. If it was going to move on its own, they say it only moves about a half a mile a year. But if somebody has a load of infected firewood and takes it 150 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles, whatever, it certainly could impact anywhere along the way and certainly its destination. So we figure that it came to the Twin Cities here by infected wood being hauled in by someone.
Okay. Now, what exactly is the threat for people that don't know? What does emerald ash borer, how does it threaten the trees?
Well, emerald ash borer, the bug itself gets underneath the bark of the tree, gets into the cambium, the wood layer, and it actually chews around in there and makes what we call galleries. They look like little, almost like when you peel the bark off, almost looks like spaghetti in there. And what that does, the insect then, by chewing on the tree, it inhibits the ability of the tree to carry its nutrients and water up through the trunk and up to the tree, and the tree actually kind of starves and chokes itself. So right now we have over 900 million ash trees, white, black, and green ash, that are at risk, over 900 million, and at this point there isn't any known cure that we can stop it with. Okay,
except for obviously quarantining it or keeping it, you know. Let's talk about kind of its emerald ash borer's path through Minnesota. Where did it start and what areas are infected now? Is Bloomington infected?
Well, it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is we haven't detected it in Bloomington yet. Okay. The bad news is it's in the Twin City metro area, and so that means most likely at some point we're going to find it in Bloomington. It actually originated in southeastern Minnesota in Houston County. And then it actually jumped from there to Ramsey-Hennepin County in the Twin City metro area. And so we're, again, supposing that some infected wood was probably hauled from Houston County to the Twin City area, and it got its start here. We've actually then just recently detected it back down in southern Minnesota in Winona County. So, we've got about 4 counties right now in the state that have active emerald ash borer going on, and that they are under state quarantines.
Okay. Has there been any regulation changes from 2011 to 2012 regarding the spread of emerald ash borer?
There hasn't been any large changes. The quarantine is still in place in the Twin Cities. Hennepin and Ramsey County are quarantined, and what that means is any ash debris, any ash wood, or any firewood of any kind of wood except pine and spruce cannot be taken out of Hennepin or Ramsey County. You can move it within those 2 counties, but you can't take any of that kind of wood outside, and the fine is very stiff. It's over $7,000 if someone is caught violating that quarantine. And so, if a person has questions on that, they should contact the Department of Agriculture, because those are the people that manage the quarantine. And if there is a permit to be let for a business or something like that, the person would have to work with the Department of Agriculture.
That's a good reminder for people heading to cabins and things like that, up north, piling up the firewood in their truck and bringing it up to their cabin. That cannot happen if you are in quarantined area, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about the signs of an infected ash tree. I mean, are we a dead tree? Is that what we're talking about? Or are there ways that kind of build up to the tree actually dying where someone can maybe counter it?
When we first noticed it here in the Twin Cities, I think we thought there were maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 symptoms that were kind of obvious, but I think as time has gone on, we found that excessive woodpecker damage, in other words, woodpeckers pecking at the trunk or a large branch on the tree, trying to get at the larvae, the bugs that are in the tree, to eat them, that's the primary way we're detecting it. So if someone has an ash tree and it seems to be in decline. In other words, it's not real healthy, and they notice on the trunk or on a large branch a lot of woodpecker damage, and it's very obvious if there's been excessive damage by woodpeckers. We would encourage them to call us, and we come out, as we've done for years with Dutch elm disease and oak wilt. We will come out and check the tree, take a look at it, and if we need to, even we'll get the Department of Agriculture involved to determine whether it is or isn't emerald ash borer.
Okay. You know, if you or Department of Agriculture were to come out and actually, you know, find that there is an infected tree, is there treatment available?
Well, once the tree has the emerald ash borer, normally it's hard to spot even the first couple of years that a tree might have it. You might not notice much of anything, and generally when you get beyond that, treating the tree may or may not be a good idea. But if someone has a healthy ash tree, it's doing very well, and they want to hang on to that tree, or at least have a good chance of hanging on to that tree, there are some chemical treatments out there that they've had some pretty good results with. I think the challenge always is, though, that you know, do you put your money into trying to save a tree that ultimately may succumb to emerald ash borer, or do you plant a new tree to get it growing? So that's a decision we all have to make, both those of us in the city and that work for the city and our city parklands, and homeowners have to make that decision whether they want to spend that money.
Okay. Well, you know, kind of piggybacking off that, is there something residents can do to prevent or deter infection altogether, or is it simply a matter of staying away from ash trees when you're doing planting? Or
I think that right now we would just recommend, the number one thing is with ash trees and with all trees, but ash trees certainly, try to keep them as healthy as you can throughout the year. If we go into a drought condition, supplement the water. Especially going into the winter, we always tell people shrubs and trees need as much water as we can give them going into the winter season. So that's the number one thing. Again, chemical treatment to protect healthy ash trees certainly is an option, and if people want to do that, we certainly say contact a reputable company that does that kind of, provides that kind of service. The one good thing, or one thing that they should know is that if they start treating the tree to protect it, they have to treat that tree forever. In other words, they can't do it for a few years and then stop and hope that the tree is protected, because the chemical will dissipate in the tree and it will no longer protect it. So there's certainly some decisions that people you know, have to make.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's talk a bit about what the city of Bloomington is doing as a whole to counter emerald ash borer.
Well, we have an emerald ash borer management plan in place, and it's basically taken from the cues, from the suggestions, from the recommendations of the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. We've inventoried our ash trees on public rights-of-way and in our maintained parks. And at this point, we've categorized them as in excellent condition, fair condition, or poor condition. And over the last 2 years, we've started to remove those poor condition ash trees, trees that aren't going to get any healthier and really will be a host tree potentially for the emerald ash borer when it hits here. So we've done that. Also, this will be the 8th year, I think, of our annual tree sale, and we started our public education even before emerald ash borer hit here by not selling ash trees. In other words, encouraging people to plant other species, diversify so they don't have all of one kind. And I think you might find it hard to even be able to purchase an ash tree now in most nurseries. People just aren't going to go there knowing that you know, that tree may not be around very long.
Mm-hmm. The risk is a little too high. So definitely taking a proactive approach to emerald ash borer. Finally, many residents may want to start, trimming their trees as they're getting their yards cleaned up after this nice brown winter we had. But is that something they should be doing?
Trimming of trees, especially this time of the year, and you kind of alluded to it, I think everything is pushed a little bit earlier with all of this warm weather. What we may have said doesn't come into play till May, certainly might be in play right now or very shortly. But we tell people during the summer months, and I would say starting any time now and through August, we say leave especially ash, elm, and oak trees alone, because if we open wounds on those trees, those are the trees that are susceptible to tree diseases that we're still trying to control out there. So we tell people, don't be trimming, especially those trees during the summer. Once we get into August and September, then the risk of opening the tree up to a possible disease infestation is far less, and certainly the colder it gets, the better it is for that kind of thing. So we just tell people, let your trees go during the summer, only deal with them if you have a broken branch or something needs to be done, and then just keep them watered like they need to be, and then you can do your trimming and even removal in the fall and winter.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, lots of great information. Much of that is on the city's website. We'd like to thank Paul for being here with us today. It's now time for a short break. We'll be right back.
Oh, gee whiz, that was swell. Good job. Yes, my turn. Yeah.
Who wants cookies?
Oh, I do. I want cookies.
These sure are the best cookies, Mrs. J.
You kids sure know how to work up an appetite.
Can we work up an appetite tomorrow, too?
Sure, Billy.
Looks like Roscoe wants some, too.
Are you kids thirsty?
Ignoring underage drinking is the same as providing the bottle. It's time to take action. It's time to stop looking the other way. A message from the Edina Police Department and Edina Chemical Health Partners.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, thanks to unseasonably warm temperatures, local golfers are teeing off a bit earlier than usual. Both Dwan Golf Club and Highland Greens Golf Course open to the public on March 20th, as that's the earliest season opening ever for both courses. And given the mild winter we saw this year, some golf courses in the area opened their greens for golfers months ago. CITIC had this to say back in January when residents were asking, why not open our courses?
The ground is, for all practical purposes, semi-frozen. The frost is not down very far, if any. So the top layer thaws out when it gets a little warmer, and every divot and every ball mark is not going to come, it's not going to regrow. Come spring, I can't imagine what some of the golf courses, especially the busy ones. And if they're allowing carts out, there's no growing, so it's the constant wear. There'll be wear patterns coming on and off greens, a lot of dead grass. And we're just not willing to take the chance for the limited amount of revenue to have to repair it and not have it very, very playable for our players in the spring.
Both courses are welcoming exciting changes this season. Highland Greens is gearing up to open its new all-grass hitting station to the public during an open house on May 26th. And Dwan is expanding its online presence with a virtual tour available on the city's website. This tour allows golfers to actually visit each hole and note tips and tricks to play the hole best. Log on to the city's website and keyword search Dwan or Hyland to see further information on either course. Bloomington Human Services is inviting residents to join hundreds of Bloomington High School students, staff, and community members to participate in the 2012 Diversity Day Run for Peace. And at the March 19th City Council meeting, the annual T-shirt contest design winner was unveiled.
Well, every year for Diversity Day, the Human Rights Commission and the Bloomington School District do a number of things, collaborate on a number of things, including the T-shirt contest This year there were 53 submissions for the T-shirt contest. All the submissions are outside of Chambers here. And of the 53, this was the winner, and this design was selected based on originality and on incorporation of the themes of peace and diversity in Bloomington. So tonight we want to recognize the winner, and the winner is Jefferson High School senior Justin Lease, and he's here, and also Terry Steyerwalt from the Richfield Bloomington Credit Union is here, and the credit union is providing a certified check to the winner for his accomplishments.
On Friday, May 4th, participants will walk or run from Kennedy to Jefferson High School to promote diversity and peace. The trek begins at 10 a.m. at Kennedy High School, located at 9700 Nicollet Avenue, and will loop around Bloomington to finish at Jefferson High School, that's located at 4001 West 102nd Street. Each school observes the Diversity Day celebration with a week full of presentations and cultural awareness displays and activities. No pre-registration is required. Community members are encouraged to just show up and demonstrate your support for Diversity Day, and hey, you're getting some exercise while you're at it. If you have questions, contact Bloomington's Human Services Division. The warming temperatures bring concerns for animal control officers, and they'd like to offer a few friendly reminders to pet owners. Animal control has already answered several calls about dogs being left in cars. Officers say to keep your pet at home if you need to go somewhere. Internal car temperatures can be upwards of 107 degrees on even a mildly warm day. Furthermore, tick season is upon us. Tick prevention and removal is vital to reduce the risk of infection by a tick. Get your dog vaccinated, check them before letting them inside your house, and use a topical tick repellent to ensure they're protected. Be sure to tune in to Bloomington Today later this month, where we'll feature another pet project segment highlighting these important spring and summer pet tips and more. And that's all the time we have for today. To get more information on city projects, parks, road construction, and events, visit the city's website. To check out past Bloomington Today shows or other city productions, log on to the city's YouTube channel, accessible right from the city's homepage. That and so much more is online right now at www.ci.bloomington.mn.us. If Facebook or Twitter isn't your thing, sign up for eSubscribe to have updates sent right to your email or cell phone. This is Bloomington Today, a presentation of the City of Bloomington's Communications Division. I'm Kaylin Cockriel. Thanks so much for joining us.